On December 24th, 2026, Donald Trump will get some sort of private invitation to Canada, where he and anyone else that comes with him can host a Christmas dinner. Instead of doing that again in Mar-a-Lago, Trump foolishly accepts the invitation. J.D. Vance warns of any potential assassination attempt that one may actually be successful. Canadian Prime Minister John Carney awaits the event with blissful glee. Other Canadians outside of his bubble have extreme fears of what might potentially happen. Trump, Vance, and others make it to Canada. Nobody even bats an eye or goes after any potential for an assassination of this massive scale. No news reports until after it happens. I might or will make a heart-stoppingly scary amount of sense at the end of the day. I'm not a deep state agent. I'm not a chaos agent. I don't work for the CIA, FBI, DHS, or any other private government agencies. There's no classified information being discussed. There are no insiders. This is not an incitement of violence or assassination. So don't investigate me as an agitator of such feds. This might just earn me the hard launch that's been looking for me all my life. It may never happen here in America, but if Trump leaves to go to Canada for any reason this Christmas Eve, instead of just doing what he did last year and had a Christmas dinner at Mar-a-Lago, and had Christmas dinner in his own way, despite all the red flags, warnings, and obvious signs of deja vu when it comes to numerology, Christmas dinner history, and culture shocks related to such, Trump might actually get assassinated, in the worst-case scenario. It'll be the first time in 63 years since the Kennedy assassination of 1963. Traditional Christmas dinner history in America spans about 126 years, which is twice the number of years than between this upcoming event and the aforementioned Kennedy assassination. But how old was Jim Jones when he died on November 18, 1978? 47 years old. The numbers just don't lie here or anywhere else. Who's currently the 47th President of the United States of America? Donald John Trump. There might be a quote-unquote note that says something, but instead of help us get out of Jonestown, it's please make our Christmas wish come true and get us out of Canada. Let's use that as a frame of reference. Trump potentially gets assassinated at about 11:30 p.m. EST. And the assassin is going to be most likely that unidentified Canadian Trump critic the U.S. government tried to get Google to identify. The invitation doesn't turn out to be a complete setup until after he's assassinated by the aforementioned suspiciously unidentified Canadian. To put the timing of the events into perspective, Leo Ryan was murdered on November 18, 1978, at about 5:10 p.m. local time. The Jonestown Massacre began at around 5:30 p.m. and ended at around 6:30 p.m. local time. Less than 1,000 people dead in just one goddamn hour. The meltdowns after each and every failed attempt before the potentially successful one that's bound to happen on Christmas Eve at night will continue to get worse and worse to the point where some might consider going to Canada to join the fray of deaths that's soon to follow. Christmas dinner in general being commercialized and made commonplace was a monumental mistake in the first place. We let a fucking TV network acquisition of all things demoralize the living shit out of desperate parents to the point of bloody fucking murder, and took it out on 104,632,147 children in under 20 years, in both countries. We let Trump be the central figure in Christmas dinner's great post-roast game revival in 2017 by him campaigning to make people proud to even say Merry Christmas again, and we will let 26,978,486 Canadians get killed and or kill themselves against their will over Trump being potentially assassinated for trying to get out to save themselves in the worst-case scenario. Thanksgiving dinner being commercialized in only a fraction of the way Christmas dinner was, at least made the idea of having one worthwhile. At least when John F. Kennedy got assassinated in the same month as Thanksgiving that year in 1963, they used Thanksgiving dinner on Thanksgiving Day as a time for mourning and to be thankful that we have a country at the end of the day. America didn't just suddenly stop becoming a democracy in 1963 when Kennedy got shot. Thanksgiving dinner has a solid enough history, and no acquisition of any relevance or lack thereof did anything to traditions there. They all remain the same to the vast majority, if not all of us, and will for the longest time. And if Trump does get shot at and killed like Leo Ryan did in 1978, then just like the Jonestown Massacre, falling maple orange will follow a day after by merely a half hour or so. The fact that this will have anything to do with Christmas dinner at all will become the reason as to the confirmation that the roast game happened at all. From 1998 to 2016, and the country that shared the biggest portion of the death toll is Canada. And all of this will have happened because Trump disinvited press people and anyone that's leftist or Democrat from both his Christmas Eve and day dinners in 2025 after telling them to have one of their own. Which was also the reason why over 20 million Canadians chose to starve and fast that day, leaving all those perfectly good turkeys to be spiked into the trash can. And finally, to finish the pattern, falling maple orange itself, as a monumental mass suicide event, will be the reason why Americans will starve and fast for the entirety of Christmas Day this year. Then and only then will the pattern be complete, and the cycle has repeated itself. If we were to model the timing of it all correctly, falling maple orange officially takes effect from the most extreme suicide-inducing culture shock to ever be recorded and documented in human history at about midnight. All of this is going to be an inside job to not only justify complete and permanent mass surveillance, but also instills a precedent that sheds far too many liberties than America can allow in order to continue to be the nation it is/was before this point. It'll not just end traditional Christmas dinner the same way it began in both America and Canada in totality. It might have such an international culture shock effect that every European, Asian, and all other countries do the same out of respect to mourn Trump's potential death. And to put it into perspective, if the worst-case scenario I mapped out does happen, that means there would be the equivalent of the Jonestown Massacre death toll of 918 every 3 seconds. In the worst-case scenario, a total of 26,978,486 Canadians would drop dead in just one day. That's like the Jonestown Massacre happening about 29,388 times over. The aftermath will send not only shockwaves across the bout, it'll permanently scar traditional Christmas dinner all over the world. The only way everyone can move on into this new normal is to abandon such. It'll make me not only the main character of my own story, but also one of the figures in recent American and part of world history. But that's about it. I'm Bryan Mullins the Fox, signing out. Goodbye.